Welcome to the Free Play Arcade Podcast, live from the, taped live, but it's today. It's Friday.
It's going up right away after this, yeah.
At the Premier Event Center in Lewisville, Texas. It's Chris Delp.
Corey Hayden.
Arthur Williams.
Look, we did it.
Guess the community liaisons. All right, we are here to talk. What are we here to talk? We're here to talk auction.
Well, the most important thing that we're going to talk about is subscribing to this awesome...
Up there. I'm not sure which direction is the bell. You tell me in the comments.
There was
after you hit it.
There was a comment the other day that was just
this way.
This way? I don't know.
If anyone ever asked me to... This was like on our YouTube. Someone left a comment that said, if you ever ask me to subscribe, I'm never going to listen to your podcast again. And I was like, well, I don't know. I feel like all podcasts should ask you to follow along.
At the same time, would it be better to ask at the end of the podcast rather than the beginning? What do you think, viewers?
Yeah, leave comments.
Poll here. Yeah, if it bothers you that much, just hit that right arrow key and skip ahead 10 seconds. We're good.
Yeah. All right. So no, we're here today. Obviously, behind us right now, they're setting up for the auction tomorrow, which I'm going to be kind of straight with the listeners. What we have on the floor right now, not so tight, not so good.
A couple things that I think are interesting. But
there are some games that are labeled Ms. Pac-Man.
Some of them even are Ms. Pac-Man.
One or two of them at least.
One or two.
Yeah, I think two. Yeah. Lots of 16-1s on this one. Lots of just true barn games. And you can really so what they'll do from now till the morning, which is good, is work on them and clean them up, because as we know in our business, it's really hard to get things prepped before you take everything to an arcade, because we got Free Play Fort Worth about to come. We're going to drop all those games on the floor and then really do that once over. So they do something similar here. They'll get them looking better. They'll tweak the little minor adjustments that have gone wrong. Like monitors will get kind of funky if they sit in the warehouse for a long time.
I saw multiple pinkies in the Ms. Pac that I played.
There's a Donkey Kong that I can only really recognize because I can imagine what it would look like if I had no glasses. I don't know.
That's a 16-1 without focus too. So
no focus.
No, it's
Pandora's Box and Arcade 1-Up both in the house.
Arcade 1-Up. That's the first I've seen
this is the
one
first
here.
Arcade 1-Up I think that's been in the auction.
Asteroids.
So I'm expecting it sells sub 100, but I don't know.
I think I might have a quarter.
Right. There's this little mini hoops game that I played a second ago. That was pretty cool. Guys, I don't know. I'm supposed to tell the truck guys who do all of our logistics how many trucks to bring tomorrow, and I'm leaning towards one, which is no good.
One shiny corner. I will not be bidding on the Arcade 1-Up. It's not worth that.
It's not worth the quarter.
Sorry.
No, and it's weird.
I can play a real Ms. Pac.
Well, what's crazy
Asteroids.
is here you can see it directly up against all the emulators that exist.
Yes.
Because we got Pandora's Boxes, 16-1s, and it's interesting how bad the Arcade 1-Up just compares to a terrible emulator on actual arcade hardware.
Yeah.
So it's even. It's just that's
levels of broken heart here.
Yeah, it's still an embarrassment, but we've tackled that topic. We tackled that topic before it even came out, and people are still mad at us about that.
Be mad. Arcade 1-Up sucks.
It still
the
sucks.
end. Okay, so
all right.
I'm gonna start another album in my iPhone. I've got Felipe Begs for Rides, but also I want pictures of Tekken Tag 1 control panels. Just for randomness.
Okay.
I took one. I'll send it to you.
There are some
if you didn't take your own.
Amazingly bad. And this what I'm gonna have Matt the videographer come take some video of some of these control panels, because they're some of the worst designed control panels I've ever seen. There was
Designed is very kind.
Right. Well, so I was playing a pedestal Pandora's box that had 6 buttons, and first each row is about 6 inches away from the other. So and then they've split punch and kick onto each side. Yeah. So it's not all punch, all kick like it's supposed to be. It was punch, kick, punch, punch, kick. And so it took me a while to it just got all this cell shading stuff. Even that though, better than the Arcade 1-Up. But I won't mention that word again for the rest of the podcast, because I know it gets all people on the internet all riled up.
Arcade 1-Up sucks. Arthur Williams, where we're making up stories about his dislocated shoulder, but I like to make up stories. So when I think of these control panels, I think of just in my head, it's just grandson got Tekken Tag somehow.
Right.
Pops has no inclination to actually build or do anything. Grandpa says he used to do stuff back in the war, right?
he'll show.
And grandson says it has 5 buttons on each side. and he just like randomly drills 5 holes, and he's like, "There you go," because they're not even uniform on the left and the right side.
Oh no!
One of them is at this crazy downwards angle. The other one's a little bit up. Yeah. But either way,
no, we're gonna go get some coverage of that. When we do a walkthrough maybe tomorrow. It's because there's
the best thing
some
about this
bad
Tekken
stuff.
Tag cabinet though, with its Tekken Tag buttons and the official artwork for left punch, right punch, and tag and all that, is that it's on the top of a background from Soul Calibur.
Right.
It's like it doesn't make any sense.
Well, I mean, the arcade operators, they didn't really care, right? They would just
obviously
anything they had in their warehouse that would work, just as long as they had the buttons there. And what's really weird is think about it that there were players in the world that came up to that game, they played it, and they thought, well, that's how that's supposed to be. So that
player 2
exists.
has a real advantage in that he can touch all of the buttons with just 4 hands.
Yeah. So, I mean, this one's really light. There's not like one, besides a couple missed packs, but there's not like one legitimate kind of golden age arcade game here.
There was a Stargate.
Yeah.
It's currently running double dribble right now.
Yeah, I really like the joysticks on the double dribble because they're like nubs.
I didn't notice that.
They're like 2 inches tall.
I mean, converted Stargate. So.
And you can like just feel the crunching as you move them back and forth. No, I mean this is quality wise this is a weak one, which each one varies, right? It's just people who bring their games to auction. Some people are going to bring their prize cherries because that's the great thing about this auction. You got people like me who will buy both like a good deal for kind of lower quality games, or we're willing to pay real retail prices, maybe even higher, for that perfect game if it's here ready for us to take it home. So
all right. So we got our November 2nd 25-hour charity stream. We're talking about whether we're going to put it on YouTube or Twitch or both or whatever, but my question is, you have to play one of these games for 25 straight hours. It's one of those back there. Now, any of them that are off, you have to assume that like you turn it on and it just works, right?
Fair enough.
So we're going to go that far at least. But what game are you going to actually play for 25 straight hours for charity, for Cook Children's?
All right, so this would be kind of like punting and cheating because they've got Pandora's box that has like 800 or 1,000 games in one. I'd probably just pick whichever of the best one of that is, just to kind of explore the terrible games and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'd be really tempted just to pick Miss Pac because Miss Pac's a ton of fun, and it's it's hypnotic just going through the mazes over and over and over. So that was famous in the old Walter Day book, the story of the person who just played Pac-Man for allegedly like 90 hours or some nonsense and just was on the first level going in circles because the ghosts
if you had talked about recreating the 24 hours of one game for a challenge, the legendary.
The legendary was 100 hours.
100 hours, right. And that was certainly my plan, is just to find like if you had actually done something like that, I would have been like, yeah, I can do that, and just parked it in Pac-Man, and there we go.
Yeah, no, that was
clock started. This is gonna be worth it, I think.
It's kind of weird because when I first read that story, I was like amazed. But now knowing arcade games, I'm less amazed, but I also think that there's just like a ton of just nonsense in that story. Like it's clearly, I mean, it's supposed to be like an old legend or whatever, but it's clearly just kind of absurd.
Right.
I don't know if there's very much truth to any of it.
Arthur, 25 hours for one game. Go.
All right. Looking at all the games they had that were the most fun, I think, to play, I don't know if I can manage 25 hours in any of them, but
Superbikes?
No.
Fast and Furious?
Die Hard Arcade was back there.
Oh,
and
yeah.
that game is super fun.
Yeah, and that's a good game to play for a long time, right? Because
did we have that on the floor, or because we had one in that generation? I think we had it, right?
Yeah. Well, we've never actually put it on the floor. We have 2 Die Hard dedicated.
What was the Zombie Raid? Something
Zombie
like that?
Raid's kind of like It's
Zombie Raid's the shooter, right?
Zombie Revenge.
There we go.
Yeah, it's Naomi, I think.
Yeah, Zombie Revenge, really cool. Naomi, one of the few wood dedicated, and it plays similarly because you're in like a 3D world, but you're controlling with the joystick.
You can tell it's a sister game.
And yeah, I mean, I actually really like that game, but no one else seems to. So
there was a sequel on the Dreamcast, also Dynamite Deca, whatever. I don't know if it had an arcade release. Now I'm going to look into that later.
I doubt it. I think the arcade was largely a failure.
It's too bad, because the first one's great.
Well, I think it's actually a lot of fun to play. It's just it's always like we'll put it at a location. It's always one of those first games that the employees, when I'm like, what do we rotate out? That's one of the first ones that always goes. But I'll always kind of remember that one fondly.
I used to play at a movie theater when I was a kid, and we'd go to the movie theater and call our parents to pick us up, and we wouldn't call them and pick us up until we were out of quarters, having played Die Hard Arcade for however many quarters we had. So good times.
So Chris, what's yours?
All right.
25 hours.
I'm having to assume that it works just perfectly, right? But you already
sure.
know it. San Francisco Rush 2049. So there's 6 different courses, several different cars. I can go backwards. There's a surprising amount of depth in that game. It's not the best arcade design because it's too hard. But I'm a glutton for punishment, and especially if you're going to make me play it for 25 hours, assuming I can get better. I can actually memorize these courses.
What would mess me up though with that game is the drone as as you're driving.
It's just so
it's so grating that it would just slowly infect my mind, and it's like when you would sit there and you'd play the original any original NES
it's got
game.
the first dubstep tracks booming at you for 25 hours.
It would seriously. I think
you turn
I
the
would
music
go
off, by the way,
insane.
and it's in the options. Not in the test menu options. There's a secret code. Music off. Drones also off.
But
Train smashing into me every time, but I like it just for the. It's kind of in the hard driving. You can see where it was clearly inspired by hard driving. You explode. You have a replay. You're doing stunts. You're flying off of buildings and into barns, and yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we get a lot of people that talk to us about these different drivers, which of the generations that we normally feature, Daytona is the kind of the king, because it's kind of an actual good game, but it's
great.
And
It's good on multiple levels. So San Francisco Rush, I enjoy it quite a bit. It's very hard. You can't really pick up and play it like you would want to because you pick up a car and I'm not turning all the way to left. I'm not turning enough. Boom, smash, kapow, right? It's got a cool replay. But Daytona, you can just drive it, right?
Right. Well, and and Daytona's designed to race against someone else really well. And then there's all the cruisins, which I think are all pretty cool, actually.
Cruisin' lacks the back end depth.
Right.
So where Daytona gives you both the front and the back end, where you can it's easy to learn and it's hard to master. Cruising is both easy to learn and easy to master because you've already mastered it when you hit start.
And you're just kind of cruising around. It's literally casual is in the name. It's a casual racing game, but
and then Rush is just impossible at level 1, and then you finally figure out the method to the madness, and you're like, oh sweet, I can drive inside Alcatraz and then explode.
What I find interesting, because even California Speed is kind of cool in its own way.
I never played that one.
What I find interesting though is how rough and how Raw Thrills has sucked all the soul out of these modern drivers that they're making. They're making these beautiful looking cabinets with all sorts of cool light design and everything. But I don't really know how to describe it. One of my big complaints.
If there's not a shirtless Sal DeVita in the background of my cruising / California Speed / whatever Raw Fast and Furious game, not in it for me. Shirtless Sal DeVita only.
But yeah, I mean, because they made whatever Cruisin' Blast or whatever, this Raw Thrills, and all of them just to me, they feel so similar, each one, because it's the same engine, right? That they, I think, it looks like it.
Yeah.
That they're just reusing the same assets over and over, and it's one of the same complaints I have about Mario Kart, the arcade release. There's not the raw skill. It's all designed to get you to a certain point and make you feel good about yourself, so you then pay a little bit more money.
Right, and then you don't win the second race because the slot machine tells you you're not going to win that second race.
Right. Well, and I
remember you told me that you and your son were playing the Batman Raw Thrills game.
Yeah.
And both of you died at the exact same spot.
Yeah. Well, that was the other thing. Yeah, I'm clearly, he was 4 probably at the time. I'm clearly better than him, but we both got to the exact same spot in the game and died. We both got about the same score, despite me doing much better because it was just slowly, punishing me. And the real thing is it's not just Raw Thrills though, because what is it? I just blanked. But the Mario Kart games is what I was going to get at. Those Mario Kart arcade games, one of the most requested games for free play, because you can kind of see that nostalgic crossover.
The IP,
right? The IP is
very
great,
popular.
but yeah, the game it's just so it's soulless because no matter what, you always kind of finish about the same place, no matter how good or bad one person's doing, and it doesn't feel at all to me like Mario Kart. Mario Kart was a very skill-based game. The controls always did the same thing. Your car always went the speed that it went. The power-ups that you got always did the same thing, but not so much in the arcade game because there's this random number generator that's deciding things, and also it wants you to feel good about your race.
I want to say it was NBA Jam, the first one, that early 90s Midway title, and Midway, Raw Thrills, the Chicago developers, they share some commonality in employees and designers. That one invented CPU assistance, as far as I know, where this player is clearly better than this player, so we're going to raise their
balance
stats
it, yeah.
until they actually equal out, and then the determination of who wins the game is just RNG.
Yeah. It kind of takes away from the experience for sure.
It takes away from your feeling of accomplishment having won. I won. Well, sort of. The computer just sort of gifted it to you.
Well, and so I'm a little bummed out about this auction, not just because I was gonna I had planned a.
There's no NBA Jam here.
I had planned a bit for the podcast that was gonna be, I was gonna roll it on to because a lot of people ask what are the, what's the one thing you want to focus on when you're at an auction and everything, and for me it's discipline, and I wanted to have this whole section about, how I'm not a naturally disciplined person at anything.
I mean, the one game that I would own is here.
Which one?
Ms. Pac-Man
This
cocktail.
Pac-Man Galaga cocktail.
Yeah, you like
Chris and I both said, hey, this is cool.
Me and Arthur are going to be bidding against each other. I'm starting at a quarter.
I'm not a huge fan of the oversized 25th or the 20th that they have here. I like the original Midway style. I might put it.
The Bally Midway Classic and swap screens. Yeah,
I could see an argument though for putting a combo board in that original Midway. But yeah, I was going to talk about at every auction you want to buy everything, so you got to rein it in, and how learning discipline has been this hard thing in my life and everything. But auctions are one place where I think I do a pretty good job. I almost always reach a little bit, but yeah, this time I might not buy anything.
Oh, well, we're not seeing the complete floor yet. Is that right?
Yeah, that's true.
They're still bringing stuff in all night into early tomorrow.
And
here comes the good stuff now.
And truthfully, they always say that it's going to be better tomorrow.
Well,
and sometimes it really is, sometimes it's not, because they don't really know exactly what's going to come. So
that's not a top-notch sales pitch to be like,
right, this is it, guys.
Yeah, well, better luck next time. See you tomorrow.
So, I mean, they have a decent row of drivers here. Some Hydro Thunders that may or may not turn on, but we like Hydro Thunder. That's a cool game. What's really interesting is here they had the Hydro Thunders, and I don't know how many times I've seen this, but not very often. They've got these leather covers on top of the plastic seat.
That's cool.
Obviously, they're pretty much destroyed at this point, which I don't know why you'd ever put the leather covers on a plastic seat for a commercial arcade, because it's just, you're giving stuff to people to destroy. But that's pretty cool. There's, I don't know, I mean, there's lots of cruisins. There was
there were 3 pinball tables, 2 of which I thought were pretty cool. There was a Sega that movie by the guy that did RoboCop. Starship Troopers.
It is the Starship Troopers. It's not the Stargate pen.
Is Doogie Howser on the artwork?
I'm sure that he is, because Rico, whose actor escapes me, was there.
Yeah.
Sweet.
And
no, it looks cool.
I think that was cool.
I like that pin a little bit.
I've never played it, and I think it looks pretty neat.
Because it's one of the Sega releases. It's pretty neat. And then,
Sega, which was Stern and then became Stern again, right?
Something like that, yeah. Yeah. Well, the Sterns were involved with pinball in every aspect, and so.
But then there was a second one, I don't remember what it was, and a third one that was Ninja Turtles.
Yeah,
which
Data East Ninja Turtles, which I'd never seen before.
It looked kind of boring, but they used the actual 1988 or whatever year Ninja Turtles action figures on the table as play pieces. And I thought that's really cool.
And I know why Corey's confused here, and I'm going to explain it to you really quickly by just saying my age. 39, Arthur?
38.
The end.
Yes.
Well,
that's why we think it's cool.
No, it is cool. I don't know if those action figures are stock or not.
They are.
Those are the action figures that got on my 8th birthday.
No. I meant
at our age, we are.
What I meant is I don't know if they originally came on the table like that.
Yeah, that seems
I'm not sure about that
unlikely.
Or if
you can see where
added.
it's screwed through the
hands.
Yeah.
So I honestly I've played the table quite a bit, actually. It's it exists. I mean, it's pinball, and I've really in my old age come to appreciate all pins. I was up in Denton yesterday playing that Denton Heat, and I'm just
the Denton Heat is actually one of my favorites.
I'm digging it. I play it, and I feel like I'm trying to it's something that I'm really trying to learn how to really use the table, because you learn one Stern, you feel pretty good about most of them. And Stern, of course, is still, I mean, Denton Heat has really pretty strong flippers, but you get these new Sterns and you hit that ball, and it's got those 29 coils, which are super strong, and that ball flies everywhere. It's really easy. You're never gonna miss a shot because you didn't get it in the sweet spot on the flipper. You're gonna miss a shot because you just missed the shot. But with those old games, it's all about getting that perfect little thing so that you hit your full loop shot with those older flippers. I think the replacements are the 30s or something on the Denton Heat. So they're still pretty strong. But
yeah, it's all about controlling the table, controlling the ball, and that's really fun for me as well, learning those techniques to just control it and never even put yourself in danger or tilt.
Right.
And still, you have control of everything. And do you miss the shot because your name's Chris Delp and you have horrifically bad aim in pinball? Yes, I miss all the shots over and over again, and I just catch the ball again, and here we go again.
One change that I would make, and maybe I should talk to James to see if we can pull this off. I wish you could get your real ball at that pop bumper. And it would just drain. Like, I wish there was a way, because in Denton Heat you can hit there's a static ball and
it bounces around in there.
That's trapped.
I see a Cruisin' USA.
Yeah,
and two others coming in.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely, the lineup's getting better. I assume I'm going to buy some stuff. I think I'm being a little silly when I say, but what I'm saying is, like the Turtles pinball, I think I like them.
If you don't buy anything, you just shoot corner threes endlessly at the Stargate / double dribble.
Oh my gosh, that was the worst. And Double Dribble was a conversion game, and I've seen some pretty serious, like a lot of ruined space duels and gravitars that got turned into Double Dribbles.
I mean, as much as I love Tekken Tag, I've seen a lot of things due to Tekken Tag. So breaks my heart. Actually, I just want to go and just be locked in a room with the guy who made the manual for Tekken Tag and encouraged all that nonsense. Because how many classic arcade machines did he ruin?
That's an interesting question, and I really want to know that answer because, man, Fierce
we
Punch,
probably know
not Thumb Tag.
Well, to see as many Tekken 3 and Tekken Tag boards that we see, they must have made like 50, 60,000 of those boards. That might be too high, but I don't know.
I don't know either.
I wouldn't be surprised, honestly,
because
they had them everywhere.
It is such a just pervasive game. And
then the PS2 version came out.
Yeah, and of course and we don't even have to get into it, but yeah, every control panel is different, and every player has different preferences, and it's not really solvable in many ways. So I mean, we have one at Arlington.
You can't just do it like straight as it was, because as it was the Wild West.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, and I mean there is that one dedicated cabinet, but no one played it on the dedicated cabinet. Mm-hmm. So no one actually cares.
Ours is a T3 conversion?
Well, yeah, it's the...
no, it's got T1 or 2 art.
Okay. Well, it's still a really cool cabinet. I just don't like the placement of tag.
Well, yeah, so it's got
look at Nina to date the art.
All right, I'll check her out next time in Arlington.
Well, yeah, and I was when you open it up though, you can see the Namco Tekken Tag actual, like the serial tag.
Yeah, you can clearly see it's an official Namco cabinet.
So it's really crazy to me. I don't know, but yeah, obviously the operators everywhere were doing some crazy stuff, and now we're seeing some of the remnants come through. Used to when we'd come to these auctions, this whole entire building would be full. I've
been here for one of those
games, and it's.
Then you bought them all.
Yeah. Well, and you would see a lot of just a lot of crazy stuff. I wonder long term. There's still lots of auctions, but the prices have become so much that most auctions kind of look like this, and they're still getting like the same amount of dollars out of the auctions in total sales because of prices. But I wonder kind of if most of the stock hasn't slowly kind of been bled away from all the operators. There aren't that many operators anymore. And so most of these
would you be an operator?
Yeah.
Okay.
But most of these operators have been doing like location route running forever.
Gotcha.
And so what they would normally do is just take like their 2 or 3 or 10 worst performing units of their 600 or whatever they would have, and sell them here, and then just maybe buy a couple things that they think are going to do better. With the kind of demise of route running, I think that's kind of.
Do you feel like we have the camera pointed in the wrong direction? Because we have a table auction going in the other side, and there's just an autonomous robot going in circles.
So yeah, they've built
plotting our death as soon as it becomes self-aware. It has the computer right there. It's hooked up to the internet. It's only moments away, I'm sure.
They've built a little.
Hopefully, we'll survive for the actual auction part of this.
A fake storeroom that it's navigating, and they've like programmed the tracks into it. It's
best game here.
It's definitely more interesting than everything. I was playing a gambling game, like a slot machine, earlier, and I'm really upset about it because like I kept winning. Like I'd win the thing, and then it'd give you like the option to double up, and it's supposed to be like a 50-50 shot. Literally never won the double up. I lost 100%, and I did it every time I won. So I probably did it like 50 times. No matter what amount that I won, I tried to double up, and I never got it to do it once.
The moral of the story may be don't play slot machines.
Only gamble
table
on
guys.
pachinko.
I mean, definitely don't play slot machines or the 8-liners if you are if they're in the back of a convenience store, because not only are they illegal. Because they're illegal, they're completely unregulated. So,
or a bar next door to your favorite arcade.
Yeah, it's just if you happen to be in a dive bar near Free Play Richardson, don't put money in that. Don't do it. It's not good. No, so let's see. There's got to be.
How are they anywhere? That's my big question.
So I've talked to the City of Richardson Police about this. They don't care. They just literally don't care.
That is how they're anywhere. Gotcha. How do they report the revenue on taxes?
I can only speculate that the majority of them are reporting that as income, just as sales and stuff like that. Right. I don't know the specifics of anyone, and I would guess that they don't. But yeah, like the city of Garland, which is right next to Richardson, shut them all down and is continually locking them up. And I mean, they'll pop back up, but then they'll shut it down. They'll pop back up, they'll shut it down. I've been in restaurants where I see them wheeling them out, and it's like the authorities are wheeling them out and stuff.
And yet, next door to
Richardson, which is generally considered like a moderately wealthy city with high-end stuff and stuff like that.
Pretty well.
No, that doesn't seem to care about illegal gambling. In just the shadiest ways too. I mean, those things are paying out like
nothing,
40% or something. Whereas like Vegas, you're talking 90 plus, 92, 96 on some of those machines. So it's more like in Vegas, a lot of times they're just taking like a small vig and moving money around with the thrill of potentially winning big somehow. That's fun gambling. But at these convenience stores, they're literally just sucking everyone dry, and I don't like it. I'm not into it. I'm not into this auction really. I keep turning around. I'm trying to find something awesome. I'm trying to find.
I'm looking at the games that come in, and I'm like, not really.
We've got Extreme Hunting 2. I might buy for a monitor. There's one Dynamo that looks.
We have plenty of those. I don't even know how many Extreme Hunting 2s I've seen in the garage.
There's plenty. There's definitely.
There's a nice looking Virtua Fighter 2.
Oh yeah, the Virtua Fighter 2. Hey, I'll probably bid on that. That might be what everyone bids on. It's going to be like a $2,000 Virtua Fighter 2
because
everyone wants to
get something.
Well, me and Arthur are going to drive the price up on those cocktails in his back, so stay away.
Fort Worth is going to have cocktails, but we actually. Free play stock is so large already, and normally there's like a really cool obscure cocktail at each auction. Just it's been like that for the last 10, not so much this time.
And cocktails are so weird at free play.
Oh, I know.
It's hard to get people's attention. If you're going into free play and you're listening to this, take some time out. Go check out the cocktail machines. They look like tables. You think they're tables. You think we never had Defender on the floor. We did. It was a cocktail.
It's still
and
there.
It was fun. It's right there. Like cocktail tables are so cool.
Well, I mean, cocktail tables are the absolute perfect thing. If you're like on a date, y'all should go get your drinks, sit down at a cocktail table, talk, explore the game, die, not worry about it, start another one. Like, just have fun.
This is what I say to you. Go to Free Play Richardson. Just take away your 8-liner money for afterwards, right? We're gonna ignore that. You're bringing your date. You're gonna go to the bar. You're gonna order the Witch of the Week. Hopefully Carlos is in there, right? Whatever it is, just tell them Witch of the Week. They'll figure it out.
They'll give you something.
Yeah, Carlos comes up with it once every 3 weeks and calls it the Witch of the Week, and then head to the cocktails. Enjoy Tetris with the date for like an hour, and you never know where it went. Enjoy Ms. Pac. Sped up like it's meant to be with just one pinky and all of the colors. They're really nice. They're really well cut. They're in some of the best shape of any of the machines we have because they are criminally underplayed.
Right. Yeah. No, it's really amazing because we've got a Bubbles that's just sitting there.
Bubbles completely redone from practically scratch. What's the
Joust in Denton is right now maybe my favorite cabinet.
The side-by-side Joust.
That is such a cool cabinet.
Versus Balloon Fight. That was
cool?
A star of Wheel of Fighters.
No, I mean,
I wish I'd seen that.
For people who don't know, So Nintendo versus Cabs generally, where
The general just NES.
right, yeah. So well, the theory
NES,
between
but harder.
Yeah, the theory between the versus Cabs, I think, from Nintendo was to have the dual screens, but they ended up releasing just a ton of the single screen kind of Donkey Kong style cabinets for versus. But they also had the red tint, which is 2 monitors side by side, and they had the bigger one that you've seen in some of our walkthroughs that was like the huge side by side. But we have a red tint at Denton right now, and we're running versus balloon fight, where each person sits on one side and plays balloon fight against each other.
Right.
And it's cool because unlike most, it has a scrolling level. You can be at different points on the level as your opponent, and like you have your own screen. So
Yeah.
it was a really cool design.
Unlike most versus Nintendo games, it is a fully unique game.
Right. Yeah.
Right? It's not just the Castlevania you remember, just a little bit
Just take
harder.
your 4
Just-
damage per hit
just
instead of 2 in
tweaks,
the
yeah.
first stage.
Right, exactly.
No, and it's really cool, and I'm super proud we have that out there because that's not really, a lot of like the popular barcades, they don't really do that kind of stuff. They don't change their games. It's kind of like we do as much, but they don't care as much about getting that obscure, like special experience that I think we
Right,
spend a lot
you can
of
go
time.
to any free play and find a game that I had never heard of before it was on the free play floor.
Right,
A
and
game
it's gonna
I'm
be
really
awesome.
proud.
Well, yeah.
My knowledge isn't that extensive, like Major Havoc, even something that is
Right.
a big collector's item such as that one. I hadn't heard of it before you released it with its actual roller controller and full color vector graphics, and yeah, it was
Well,
phenomenal.
I think
It's a
about
very
those
fun game, by the way.
3 game plan games over there at Arlington right now.
All side by side.
Yeah, we have 3 original game plan games: King and Balloon,
So I
Enigma
play some
2,
Pot of Luck. It's too
and
busy
Pot
for
of
me to
Gold.
play. Pot of Luck is
Pot
fun.
of Gold, I think.
Pot of
Pot of
Gold.
Gold,
So
yeah.
too busy for me to play because there's just always like
So
players.
so that's the surprise star. So we released that, and I played it before we released it, and
Can
I
we
think
fly out Warwick Davis to play with us?
that would be fun. But I think each person that played it when it was at our lab was kind of like, wait a second, I just really like playing this game. Like, it's super simple, it's kind of primitive, and it's graphic design. But man, is it addictive and fun? Because you're basically, you're running from a leprechaun who's like, and you're trying to steal his gold, and he's like a murderous leprechaun that can like scroll through the level, do crazy stuff.
It's the leprechaun
Halloween.
from the film Leprechaun. the Hood.
Yeah, it might actually be.
Halloween 2021. Oh wait, no, 2020. Halloween 2019. You can get your tickets now, available for each of the locations.
Yeah, we have some cool parties coming
Yeah,
up.
we're gonna have one per week, Richardson, Arlington, and Denton. But for next year, get Warwick Davis out. We're gonna play Pot of Gold and Return of the Jedi, which we was in.
Yeah.
Is there a Willow game? I bet there is.
There is.
Go
There's a-
find you a Willow game.
There's
What,
a
the Capcom one?
Yeah, there's a dedicated.
That's a fun
Willow.
game.
Yeah, it's
There you
really
go.
cool. We've never
Star
played
Wars
it.
Arcade
CPS
Trilogy.
Yeah.
And
Alright.
and the Star Wars Steve Ritchie recently designed pinball table.
Yeah.
He's in all of those games. Well, sort of Pot of Gold.
Yeah.
And just play with him.
Well, and that's what's really cool. Like, it's almost cheating to write the copy for our game plan posts because we're the only arcade in the country that has an Enigma 2 out. We're the only arcade in the country that has a King and Balloon, which to me that's kind of crazy because King and Balloon was
Good game.
a Namco game, really awesome game. It's on the 60-in-1, so it's there. People know about King and Balloon, but no other arcades put it out. And then I think there's 2 or 3 that have, or we were like the second or third that has Pot of Gold, which I thought that was really funny. Like, we're putting out this super obscure game, but the most common is somehow Pot of Gold, and not like King. And Enigma 2 is super rare, so and most people haven't heard of it. But yeah,
In fairness, I think Pot of Gold is by far the most fun of those games.
oh, I don't know. I mean, King and Balloon
You,
is
sir,
so good.
Can leave this building because it's King and Balloon. Help!
Disagree.
I don't know.
I
I
have to agree to it.
I like. I love Pot of Gold, and Pot of Gold is definitely the one that you'll play and think like, that was crazy, I want to do it again. King and Balloon is one that you play and you're like, wow, this is a really polished experience. That's clearly like, in terms of like the level of design and programming.
Well, the first time you play, it, you get confused as to why that you're not being punished for dying.
Right? Yeah, it's really really neat, cool game.
Unlimited lives.
No GPI games here today. We do have a GPI Chaos kit that we're looking for a game plan cabinet to put in. We'd like the original, the Chaos color, but if you're listening to this and you have a game plan cabinet for some reason, let me know because I want to buy it. We have the complete kit, so we could have 4 game
be
plan
cool.
games. in one location, which would just be fun because it's really neat to, like, one of the things I love is there's all these really amazing games, and the gameplay games are great, but being able to explore that kind of history, I think, is the next level of arcade, because we put some games out, and I'm not going to be mean because it's going to be at every arcade, and I'm not, but like Tron to me is not an all-time great arcade game. Tron is a fine game, I guess, but it's like mini games, kind of like
it's mini games.
I feel like it's a better showpiece than it is a game to be played.
That's the thing. You have to put Tron in because it's got the black light and all that stuff. Like, you have to,
don't undersell how good the art design and the music, the sound design of that game is.
Yeah, but the gameplay
better than the game itself.
Yeah,
I would argue
by far.
Yeah,
I mean, the lights.
Close your eyes and think of
Tanks.
Tron right now, and you think of the music.
Well,
and
Discs of Tron is actually a really great game. Like, the gameplay on that's really
that's the one that James Chen could not leave when we flew him out to commentate the Wide World of Fighting games.
Well, what's weird is more people walk up, play Tron, just be like, cool, that was a fun experience or whatever, and leave, and not touch Discs of Tron. It's really crazy to me that like there's the sequel or the follow-up or the story. They couldn't quite get its Discs of Tron code to work on the original Tron.
Right, it was supposed to be another mini game, right?
Yeah. And then so they needed more powerful hardware to perfect it and everything.
The craziest thing about that is the up and down that people think is broken.
I know.
Doesn't work, or it's I have broken it. No. It's a part of the game. It's just at a level that you're not good enough to get to.
Right. Yeah. Now, really, really awesome game.
It's the left trigger on Spy Hunter. RIP Spy Hunter.
Right. Oh yeah, I keep seeing it because we're moving all our games as we get ready for Free Play Forward, and I keep walking by a Spy Hunter, and I'm just like, with
only it didn't have that broken left trigger. We
put
can
it
put
out
it
for
out
a
there.
bit.
All right.
Just put it out for a bit, and then have our another review special podcast where we go over all the 1-star reviews for a broken left trigger on Spy Hunter.
Why don't you guys even care about your games? It's broken.
Right.
Golly, that was brutal. You know what's gonna be funny though? Speaking of Tron, someone's gonna come here tomorrow and drop off a Tron for me.
Best Tron
which
game
will be
ever?
the best game in here, and it won't hit the auction floor, and people will be pretty grumpy about that.
Best Tron game ever is the Tron Legacy LE that you got in Arlington.
Now, I don't know if I've talked about it on the podcast before, but while we're here, not looking at cool pinballs really, because there aren't here. Let's go ahead and talk about the Tron LE. So this is
Super cool.
one of 400 ever made, and a lot of people have taken their Tron Pros and tried to kind of tweak them to look more like the LEs with the lighting and everything, but because it was, the Tron LE was so perfect in many ways. So we have probably not only do we have one of 100 Tron LEs, it's tricked out as much as possible just to make it like
it's got a functioning Tron machine in there.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
And it's like a fun game too.
It's a solid table too. It's got a simplistic design, not unlike Total Nuclear Annihilation later, that kind of teaches you how to play pinball. And to that point, we've had Colin McAlpine drive himself out from Austin multiple times. He's top 20 pinball player in the world.
Yeah.
And he's told me that that's the game that brought him into competitive pinball. That's the game that taught him how to play.
Well,
much like TNA taught me how to play.
It's got really, really well designed shots in Tron. Like the shots feel really good. It is simple, but yeah, it feels great. But yeah, I've been telling people, and I've been trying to give them advice that I think long term, unless if Disney gets back into the Tron game and allows Stern to re-release that table, which I don't think is going to happen, that could end up, the Tron LE, one of 400, could end up being the most valuable pinball in the planet. That actually had a production run. And there's the Capcom Big Bang Bar that people talk about a lot, that had a short run and then was later revived. Someone bought out all the Capcom parts and put it back together.
What era was that from? What year?
Late 90s. And I think that
so we're not talking like the Street Fighter era.
No. And this was like the re-release. Capcom got out of the pinball business, and so some guy came in.
The Street Fighter machine. They were right to get out.
Swooped in and bought all of their parts and actually released Big Bang Bar. Doing pretty cool. That's like a pretty cool thing to do. And so that's for a long time been like a $10,000-$12,000 game, or at least the last few years. But I think Tron LE could easily, in the next 5 years, be a $15,000 game. The theme is so good. like if you have an arcade in your house or like a man cave and you're building out a pinball line, putting a Tron LE in there you can never go wrong with that. So
I am in 100% agreement. That table is great in theme and everything. So there, I complimented Stern.
Well, speaking of rare pinball tables, we just recently got, what was that, Cosmic Carnival?
Oh, so hey, yeah, why don't we talk about that a little bit?
I'd be happy to.
So
seemed fascinating to me.
This is like a current news topic. The Cosmic Carnival manufacturer, I can't even remember their name anymore. Anyways, they got Cosmic Carnival into production and allegedly only made something like 25 of them before filing bankruptcy. Now, what's really interesting is
we can go back in our logs up in our. I know Matt likes us to plug other videos. We have a podcast at TPF this year where I rail against that game for like a solid hour.
Well, what's really funny is you said that, and I went and looked up the version that they had at Texas
it was
Pinball
not the
Festival.
same.
Well, not only is it not the same, like the one at Texas Pinball Festival was so far away from being finished, it wasn't even funny. Now, I'm not saying the current version of the game, the retail version that actually got released, also is relatively unfinished.
It seems like it's halfway there.
But it's playable, and it's kind of interesting. And I picked one up just because, they're in bankruptcy. It seems unlikely they're ever going to make more of them. Maybe there's enough components out there that they might be able to get 10 out or something. I don't know if that's true or not, but I bought it because it's super rare, and I also there's a lot of talk on the forums. We'll see if it ever materializes about trying to finish the game. Like there's a coder who's picked up the game who actually has pinball coding experience that wants to try to help finish it. And we were shooting loop shots earlier though, and there's no switches to count the loop shots. So.
Yeah, that seems
so yeah,
like perhaps not ideal design when you hit a ramp and there's literally not a switch in there to detect that it hit the ramp at all.
Yeah, but it has a light flashing telling you to go for the ramp. For some reason.
It doesn't actually flash. The guy coding it did have the good sense to not like incentivize you to hit a shot that it does not know that you hit.
I saw it turn on at some point, maybe in the attract mode. I don't know.
Well, yeah, it's got a light there. I just think the code doesn't because it's never lit up because you never. It doesn't know if you hit it.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah. So it's going to be an interesting piece of history, and what's really interesting is it's pinball, and I was playing it today, and I was like, yeah, it's pin. Like I like to play pinball, so I was playing it, and I thought that there were some interesting things about it. I definitely don't think that they were ever going to get whatever $6,000 or plus they were asking for it.
I like to hit the shots on pinball tables, just see if they work.
It's fun.
In this case, sometimes they don't.
Well, the
shot went through. Like I knew that I scored the shot. The score doesn't actually reflect that. But.
And it's got this really interesting loop shot around the pop bumpers too. That when it works, it feels really nice.
Yeah.
Now, why that one has switches without actually being a loop, like without having its own.
It doesn't have a path,
right?
Yeah, it just sort of like goes along the.
Which it was kind of an interesting design thing, but yeah,
I've seen it before in old machines where they have curved walls, and it specifically puts spin on the ball, and it drives like intermediate players nuts because they're like, the ball did something it's impossible to have happen. The ball's just spinning because it's a curved wall.
Nah, and I think Cosmic Carnival is going to be interesting. I don't really know what the heck I'm going to do with it. I'm going to follow along as people try to finish it. I have a couple ideas that I think I could tweak the table. And I think, you're not really ruining I don't really care about collectability of it, but you're not really ruining a perfect design there because it's kind of unfinished.
Yeah,
so,
it's a halfway complete game.
Yeah.
At this point, it's a good start. But there
is one in the free play collection. Maybe it'll come out someday. Who knows?
It's now the rarest pinball in the world. Maybe.
Yeah, I don't.
Didn't heat.
Didn't heat the one.
All right.
Which
better.
Huge props to James out there in Denton who has been solving sound issues that no one on those System 80s, I think it's System 80, has ever actually finished. Like he built on some other people's work, but we actually have completed a total sound replacement. Now we're working on the sound amplification right now.
Maybe you can send it to James and he can turn Cosmic Carnival into like North Texas State Fair.
Nice.
From my old elementary school in Denton days.
This is pretty cool. Give a giant big text telling you to get a funnel cake.
No. You're thinking the Texas State Fair. That's if you have Texas State Fair tickets, you can go and redeem them at Free Play
for $6 admissions this time.
Yes,
because they're not going to be
have a better experience. But the North Texas State Fair was a little thing that's still happening, I'm pretty sure. And it's very Denton. It's got
on the Denton Fairgrounds.
Yes, and it's got I was 8, right? But full rodeo.
Yeah,
and you definitely had that point where and I don't know if they're still doing this, but where they have all the kids go out there and try and like pull the tag off the calf. You just got 700 of us kids from Evers Park Elementary chasing after one.
The poor animal is like, oh my god,
running for its life. Yes.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. I remember
never got that tag.
In Louisiana one time I went to a prison rodeo. Where they would give the
prison rodeo. You can convert it Cosmic Carnival into that.
Right. That's not, it was.
I would play prison rodeo pinball.
It was pretty bizarre. I can't even remember. It's famous. I mean, I'm sure plenty of people who will hear this will know what I'm talking about. It was an experience because like it's. I mean. I think in general, like the prisoners can win money and stuff. Like really messed
like
up,
the plot
kind of.
to The Running Man.
Right? Yeah. No, it was. Well, and it was weird because like the warden of the prison was like well liked, but I was watching these guys like
he's putting on free rodeos.
Well, no, it wasn't free. It like raised money. But yeah, it was really really interesting. But like what was kind of cool about it was that many of the prisoners were involved in like the ranching part of. The stuff like raising cows. They sold like fresh milk there, stuff like that. I don't know. It was weird. It was totally bizarre, to be honest. But yeah, so here we're at the Premier Event Center in Lewisville, Texas. We got some Flintstones rideables, little cars that go back and forth.
Yeah, you got the robot circling around its
robot's still doing his job.
Yeah. Whatever it is, hasn't become self-aware yet, has not killed us as of yet. As of the filming of this podcast, you'll have to actually come out to Premier Event Center in Lewisville, Texas this Saturday to see if it's actually killed us. But
it's kind of funny because
if you don't see me in this building on Saturday, then indeed that robot has killed me.
I brought the one of the new Fort Worth Techs, Brent, here because I was like, man, there's always like a lot of games there, but they're gonna be like in different like stages of disrepair, and
you just see 10,000 tables.
It's really nice.
Yeah.
It's really nice to like really maybe get some experience knowing like what some problems can be and how we could theoretically fix them. And then we got here, I was like, never mind.
Yeah, it's just
I'm
not
sorry.
the big showing today.
We got an Outrun.
There's a couple
It
Need
looks
for
like it
Speeds
showed up.
coming up.
Outrun's a cool game. We've got one at Denton now. Outrun was one of the games we never thought we'd be able to put out, but the Super Outrun ROM set got really nice and polished.
Nice.
So it added real free play instead of what Outrun had, which is just start the game.
Yeah, that's the problem with Pole Position.
Pole Position too.
That's the best game I saw here, Pole Position.
It's a nice example. You're right.
That's the best game here. Best in show, Pole Position.
Unfortunately, we have a bunch of them, and we don't have any out on the floor because, Pole Position, if it has a credit, it will keep starting the credit. And so if you have a credit button, and it doesn't have like a natural free play. Right. And I mean, I love Pole Position. Pole Position is one of my favorites. And I think it's really, really neat, but it just doesn't really work on our floor that well. And I think actually, no, it was Spy Hunter that James was working on in Denton that we opened it up and someone had modified it. This was not the one that we had on the floor, but
sling one of those bad boys to an Alamo and watch me put some quarters in it.
So it's Spy Hunter.
Pole Position.
No. Maybe not Spy Hunter.
Pole Position.
Pole Position.
No, Pole Position is top notch. So yeah, there's a nice one here. Monitor has the normal Pole Position burn, but it was vibrant otherwise. And Pole Position, you should always be concerned about the 5-volt lines on those boards. You can't open these up and really check it, but that's generally where things die on that. So Pac-Man Cabaret, that's kind of cool, or Miss Pac Cabaret, that's kind of cool.
Let's see. Played well.
Hey, we got another Hydro Thunder. I think there's got to be a decent chance that one of these Hydro Thunders is going to turn out and be nice. So I like Hydro Thunder. We have a couple in the collection, but to be honest, I probably need to start buying some parts Hydro Thunders because the actual like plastics on ours are starting to die. People have cracked the seat twice. Yeah, I mean plastic wears, and our Hydro Thunders get a ton of play.
Yeah, Hydro Thunder's a good game. It just there's a lot of interesting like unique parts to it that I can definitely see that.
Well, and of course, like every Hydro Thunder's throttle is totally different, right? Because of how the wear and tear goes on those, and the other thing is because almost every person that plays Hydro Thunder, which I have to admit I kind of do it too, just mashes that stuff to the very front and then just tries to steer the ship without even touching the throttle. That's not too uncommon. There's some good Hydro Thunder players at our arcades that have set some pretty decent scores.
I guess before we hit the road, I want to re-plug the things that we mentioned. Let's see, October 18th, Friday, tickets are on sale for our Stranger, what did you call it?
A Stranger Halloween or something.
A Stranger Halloween, which has a very, very familiar theme to it.
Well, so yeah, that's our Stranger Things Halloween, right?
There you go.
So I've for a long time wanted to do that, but I always thought it was kind of like too on the nose. Mm-hmm. But as we open up more arcades, it gives me kind of like more variety. We need
Halloween events
right,
to run.
We need variety. Like, so every year, our biggest location, which is Arlington right now, we do our like classic Halloween party and that's just like we got this time we've got 2 different DJs coming on. We've got a cool costume contest and a ton of drink specials, and some tons of spooky features and stuff like that.
That'll be the Night of the Living Arcade Arlington Halloween, October 25th. All of these you can find tickets on probably definitely our Facebook page. I know you can go there.
Yeah, and I actually, that reminds me, I need to finish some of the linkage work. But yeah, if you go to any location's Facebook page, they currently have their event page up for these Halloween parties. Funny thing about that Night of the Living Arcade or whatever, that was going to be my or die event. Like, I was really pumped about doing like dance or die, game or die, but it got like just completely...
Naomi's not dying if she goes to the dance or die party.
It got completely nuked when I got to the next thing, and you had to mention alcohol somehow, and I was like, drink or die. And I was like, okay, so we changed it up. I've got full artwork for that too, the or die party. So we changed it to Night of the Living Arcade. Actually, I love the art package that came together with the 80s out zombies. It was really funny because I was working with Josh Featherstone, who's now a Free Play employee. And
you did this shirt?
Yeah, we just recently did that shirt. And I was working with him on the Night of the Living Arcade stuff, and he kept turning in these drafts, and I was like, needs to be crazier. Needs to be crazier. And he was finally like, okay, screw it. You're not even gonna like this because it's so crazy. I mean, I assume that's what he did. He didn't actually say that, but in his head, I assume he gave me like the most absurd thing ever, and I was like, we did it. Way to go. And he was just like, oh my God, that's insane. And I was like, yes, because it's got like the party lights shooting above the dancing zombies in their shutter shades and stuff. It's really awesome.
Yeah, your actual Halloween party, Thursday, October 31st, Free Play Denton's turn. That's the Denton Darkwave Halloween party.
Yeah, and the artwork for that is amazing. I'm really like that. I didn't even give any notes. I literally just said what the party was, and he turned in that artwork, and it's so good. And then, so for the Darkwave party, it's kind of cool because some people will hear the word Darkwave and they're going to think like Darkwave from like the 80s, late 80s, which was kind of environmental and stuff, we are going to have some of that. We're also going to have what's called Retro Electro, which is kind of like an ambient, danceable, spooky stuff. And then the actual like spooky retro wave, which is a whole nother subgenre. Spookwave, maybe? No, that's probably not it. I don't know what it is. So we're gonna have like a really danceable blacklight party in Denton. We've had really good success having these Thursday night parties, and with Halloween being on a Thursday, I thought that would be a cool way to do it.
And then that weekend, the end of everything for me and Arthur, a 25-hour charity stream for the Extra Life benefiting Cook Children's. We're gonna invite people to come play games with us for 25 straight hours. We already have plans for every type of tournament that we do in a month, all in the same day. We'll stream the whole thing, possibly on this channel, very likely, to be honest with you.
Fingers crossed, right?
Yeah. It only depends on the power of the Internetica in Arlington and those series of tubes that may or may not have made it into that county.
Arlington is still using trucks, actually.
Arlington, it was really great because when I was shopping for more internet, the other option was still DSL. Like, it was like, do you want 8 megabit per second DSL or
dial-up,
or your
net zero,
or whatever your cable random?
And it doesn't matter which one you pick because they're all the same amount of stable.
Yeah. So
hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll be streaming that whole thing. If not, we'll just local record it. But either way, we're doing that for charity benefiting Cook Children's, and we are having people sign up by donating to our link donate.freeplayhof.com, and you can see
guys, we got some nice drivers coming in right now. Some Hydro Thunders.
More Hydro Thunders. Another nice Rush 2049. So that's the game that I won't be playing for 25 straight hours.
So
Cruising Exotica.
So the auctioneers are right. Here we go. Things are tightening up. Things are getting better. And
last thing to plug is that subscribe button somewhere in this
so guys,
corner. In one of the corners, possibly, is a subscribe button.
So hit subscribe, and we will be back. This should be going up, and then the next video should be auction coverage.
Well, this is going up today, Friday.
Yeah, so this is going up just before
Saturday,
the auction.
So you'll probably see this momentarily.
Come to Premier Event Center and harass Corey.
Yeah, well, I mean, come on, say hi. Don't I'll do my best. If what really seems to be happening
Josh
a lot,
Rylander.
What seems to be happening a lot is people come up and they talk to me during the auction, and I always feel really rude because I'm like,
that's a sweet bid, Corey.
I'm watching all of what's happening because I'm trying to figure out if I'm going to buy these games, and people will be like, I was watching the last auction video, whatever happens at X game, and I'm just like, I don't know, man, and I'm like trying to buy a game, so it's always I always feel really rude. So feel free to come say hi. Otherwise, we are about to sign off. Thanks for tuning in, guys.
All right.
Don't kill me, robot.